Gold never being really consumed except for jewelry or whatever. There's not that much demand to pull it off. With silver, though, if someone really needs the silver for whatever purpose, yeah, there's some real incentives to pull it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, silver's the Achilles heel. It's always been, and that's why keeping silver under control has always been priority number. And priority two would be keeping gold in check. Keeping silver suppressed has always been the main goal, and that's been, you could argue, that's been the goal since the end of the Civil War when they demonetized silver. But ultimately, it's the power of the people when they start freaking out about their store value confidence that really makes the spot price move. And so I'm suggesting this isn't as far away as most people probably think. This is at the end of 2020. About 85% of all the silver is in LBMA London of the transparent holdings. And at that time, that's about where we had, Metals Focus admitted the fact that London was freaking out in Q1 of 2021 this year with only like 90 million ounces of float supposedly available. Obviously, we have India returning now. Finally, India has been virtually lost this entire time. Their demand is finally returning in the silver market. And if you put what they've done in November or October on a longer term chart, this is exactly where that would land. And that's basically, they're buying at a clip that they were buying in late 2014, back when the spot price was low and they were buying for price dip, et cetera. So London, I don't think they understand what they're up against. They're up against a combination of India coming in and buying. They're going to be buying harder silver because gold's going to get exponentially more expensive. So average Indians are going to switch to buying, poor man's gold. And then you have silver investor nutballs like us in the United States who are going to keep coming after them. And so the combination is going to be pretty deadly. So the naysayers who say, let's see silver get to 30, I understand that naysaying. It's been definitely disappointing this year, the outcome. Silver sat around, it hit $6 and then it floated around for 5 years until beginning of 1979, once it cleared $6 again. And then 13 months later, it almost 10 bagged. And so, you could wait for 30. I would suggest once 30 gets cleared, we'll probably be knocking on 50 pretty short term. Once you get through 50, it could go up a wall. And so you have to have a multi-year outlook on this. Look back at the past to kind of understand how future may rhyme. And that's basically it. You just have to have a long-term, if you're buying bullion, it's basically an option that doesn't expire. August 2019, BlackRock, the guys who wrote this, working for BlackRock, were former central bank heads. One of them was the former central bank head of Switzerland. And so they're talking about monetary financing, which is basically creating currency and financing everything, right? And that's exactly what they're talking about. They're talking about helicopter money here. They talked about boosting the stock of money. It has to be permanent. And in the long run, the growth of the money supply drives inflation. So essentially, they're going after inflation. That's what they want. And they said these large-scale injections of money are not just a tool that can be fine-tuned for a modest increase in inflation. So this 6.2 modest increase in inflation is just started up massively and permanent. And so what you see now is just the beginning. Ultimately, the beginning of an inflation that's going to be much deeper and much wider than anyone probably thinks. There are people out there who think that, yes, that's the only way out of this. And so therefore, a lot of people say, well, hyperinflation is eventually where we go. I'm not sure that's true. But you're definitely going to have a situation of double-digit inflation, year-on-year compounding with pinned down interest rates, artificially suppressed. So the real value losses of people who sit in bonds and in the bond market, it's going to be double digits year-on-year. It's the same stuff that happened after World War II. It's going to be similar here. But a lot of these people in the bond market are too large to go anywhere else. The size of them are too big. They got nowhere else to go. It's a prisoner's dilemma. Let it get away and go into some hyperinflation nightmare festival. That's why they're creating the CBDC grid. They need this. All these governments, 90% of GDP, the countries that produce 90% of the GDP in the world are going for fiat CBDC. And the reason they're doing that is to make sure there's not riots and people don't starve. Okay, they need to be able to jack up the stipends month in, month out, so people can at least eat, right? Because they know
that's where you have riots. Right?
Yes, if 40% of your income has to go to food, you're going to end up rioting.
That was a Mike Maloney statistic, right? If 40%
Max Kaiser pointed that out.
Okay.
When the Arab Spring was going on, the threshold was roughly 40% of your income. If it's going to food just to keep your baby from not crying because they're going hungry, well, you're going to choose violence. You're going to choose violent revolution instead. By the way, in this August 2019 going direct, the BlackRock, they basically had 4 major central banks coordinating on this: the U.S., Eurozone, Japan, UK. And they give the options of how to implement it, basically illegally, how to illegally get around all the checks and balances that were used not to let them do this.
There's some deflationists on social media who are making this argument.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I intend, how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.